All right, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are all here. Whether you're watching live or watching the replay, I want to quickly set up what we're going to go through in this session. Hopefully, it won't be more than an hour. So, I'm going to jump right through this introduction. First off, let me just introduce myself. For those of you that are new to the Horacio Printing family, welcome. I'm Polly, the founder of Horacio Printing. Been running this little business for almost 8 years now. And I'm a mom. I love all things productivity. I love Jesus. I love the word. I love inspiring people to live a healthy, Jesus-centered life. I'm personally extremely scatterbrained. I'm very forgetful, which is why I invented a planner to help me get my life together. And that's been a journey. And so one of my big passions right now is I run the Horacio Printing Academy. My first course that about 75 students have gone through is the dream crafting course. And this is all about really helping people not just dream, but design a lifestyle that is promoting their health and helping them meet their fundamental needs and have a schedule that works for them. Not a rigid schedule, but a flexible schedule that keeps them healthy so they can pursue their purpose and stay close to God. And I'm excited to kind of give you guys some really great principles from that in this workshop. But the truth is, dreaming and life design is actually a lifelong art. It's something you constantly have to cultivate. And so I do want to caveat that I will be doing an invitation at the end of this workshop to invite you to the Academy if you want to. But I just wanted to say that up front because there is zero pressure for you to join. But I wanted to let you know just so it didn't like spring up at the end and you're like, wait, what? But this workshop that you're in right now is 100%, I promise, 100% a standalone workshop. What I'm going to teach you in this is not a teaser. It is really great content. So you're in for fun, but just let you know, there will be an invitation at the end and a gift. So let's dive right into it. In this session, I'm going to teach you 3 core dreaming principles that I think are foundational. And then we're going to work through one dream together. And at the end, I'll give you that invitation if you want to kind of have more of a ongoing relationship and accountability and community around your dreams. So does that sound good? Y'all ready? Okay, hopefully you have your workbook. If not, grab a journal and a pen. I put the link to the workbook, so you got that there. I'm just letting more people in. Okay, number 1, core principle. You ready? The number 1 core principle of dreaming is you truly have to acknowledge and own the fact that you are a dreamer. And that might seem so elementary, but I think as a child, we grow up and we have that natural creative tendency to dream, to be creative, to imagine things for our future. And as we grow up and grow older, that part can really start to die off because of life experiences, trauma, poor relationships, expectations just not being met, right? And so I just want to remind you, I think that's the foundational reminder, is you are a dreamer. Well, why? Why do you think you're a dreamer? I believe you're a dreamer because you are created in the image of God. And at one point, God had the dream of you, the dream of Lillian, the dream of Ashley, the dream of Angela, the dream of Nita, the dream of Felicia. And God had this dream of you, and he created you in his image. And I'm just going to go back to Genesis because it says, Genesis chapter 1, verses 26. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image. And he said our because he's speaking of the Trinity, right? Jesus, Holy Spirit, God together said, we're going to make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky. Moving on to verse 27, it said, so God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. And when God created you, he said you were very good. He was proud. He was like a child. It's like, mommy, look what I made you. Proud of his artwork. And you are that artwork. So I truly believe that because we're created in his image, it's in our DNA, literally, to be creative and to use our God-given imagination to create. Part of creating is dreaming, that dreaming process. And sometimes I feel like we forget that. We get in a rut, we get in a routine, and this is it. This is what we're dealing with. This is the situation, and we forget to think beyond it. But it's important to remember our identity from way back at the beginning, that you are a dreamer. So that's core number one. And I just want you to absorb that and to accept it, that you are a dreamer and it's a good thing to dream. And if you want more in life, that doesn't mean you're ungrateful. That doesn't mean you're ungrateful. Oh, I don't need to want more. And it's good to be grateful for what you have. And I'm not saying you should be coveting what your neighbors have, but there's nothing wrong with having a dream for more. That feeling, we all go through that. I think there's more. Like there's more. Like God has more for me. And that he does. He absolutely does. I think we get so good at skeet shooting. I don't know if any of you, that's a Southern reference, but skeet shooting is where you go out and you do target practice. Basically, you don't, no animals are harmed, but you shoot like clay plates, and you just shoot the clay plates. And I think we do that with our dreams. Like ideas float up and we're like, nope, too big. Can't do that. Don't have time. I can't do that. I'm a Christian, whatever it is. And we just start shooting it down. I'm a mom, blah, blah, blah. I don't have time for that. That's a big one. We get so good at skeet shooting that nothing ever comes out and nothing ever gets written down. And so that's one of the things we talk about a lot in the academy is what have you been shooting down, So that's core principle number one. You are a dreamer. Let's jump on to core principle number two. Number two is healthy dreams are meant to be accomplished. Healthy dreams are meant to be accomplished. We're going to talk about that. Healthy dreams, not healthy dreams. Sometimes we get confused. Is this dream me or God? Should I not? I don't know. But the truth is, God doesn't give you healthy dreams to mock you. He gives you dreams so you do them. Healthy dreams are meant to be accomplished. And here's the second thing about healthy dreams. Healthy dreams are born out of healthy hearts. Healthy dreams are born out of healthy hearts. Now, I'm not saying perfect hearts, because we're never going to reach perfection. And I don't want you going, okay, well, I can't dream until I'm perfect. I can't dream until I clean everything up in my life, till there's no messes. That's not what I'm saying at all. But healthy dreams are born out of healthy hearts. And you know what a dream out of an unhealthy heart looks like. That's where people think up schemes that are horrible, right? Like doing terrible things to people. That's an unhealthy dream coming out of a toxic heart. But healthy dreams come out of healthy hearts. And when I say healthy hearts, I mean someone who is seeking God, who is seeking his will, who has fertile soil to actually absorb a dream and say, hey, God, I want to partner and I want to do that. Let's do it. That's a healthy heart. And that's why God says, above all else, guard your heart, because it is the wellspring of life. Everything you do flows out of your heart. And it's so important that we tend to our heart, tend to our soul, so that our dreams can be healthy. And healthy dreams are accomplished by healthy people. Now, the flip side of that, I want to tell you some truth. When I started Horacio Printing, or when I had the dream of Horacio Printing, I was really unhealthy. So sometimes you get a download from God and you're in a place and, he picks the underdog and you're like, me? You kidding me? If I start a Christian company, I have so many people that'll be like, really, Polly? You're doing that? Because I wasn't in a super healthy place in my life, to be honest. I've shared a little bit of my story on the podcast, but I wasn't in a healthy place, but I was seeking. I was fertile soil at that point, but I had a long road to go to becoming healthy. And also, as I accomplished my dream of running Horacio Printing and it growing in success, I went straight into burnout. There's so many times where my dream, and sometimes we do this in our professional life sucks away from our health, right? And we do the late nights and we're not sleeping and we're not eating the right stuff. And we promote our dreams so much that our marriage starts to crumble. And I've had so many seasons where other parts of my life, parts that I would consider priorities and blessings, have suffered because My dream took precedent. And so I believe it's God's intention to give you a dream, but to work with you and for you to do the work to keep your priorities and to protect your blessings, like your mental health, your rest, your Sabbath, your marriage, just your physical being, right? To prioritize your blessings, because those blessings or that dream can become a curse to the things that matter the most. We've seen that time and time again with people being really successful and then things fall apart in their personal life. And that's not what I want for you. I want you to pursue your dreams, but I want you to do it from a healthy place so that you can shine a light in the world, which is part of your purpose. So that's core principle number 2. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, so core principle number 3, that's what it all comes down to, this question. When it comes to pursuing your dream, here's the question. When it comes to pursuing your dream or redesigning your life to be healthy, where do you start? Do you start with the dream or do you start with being healthy and personal development? What do you think makes sense to you? Do you think it makes sense to focus on health or focus on the dream and planning it out? This is my answer. I think the number one dream is a healthy you. And by number one, I mean important, but also foundational. And when I say healthy you, I mean spiritually healthy, emotionally healthy, financially healthy, healthy in your relationships, all of it, holistic. And I'm not saying perfect, because we're not going to have the whole wheel all together ever, but taking care of yourself and taking care of the areas in your life that are on fire is such a crucial step for you to get close to fully accomplishing that dream and going the long road with it while shining a light in a really dark world. So that's my answer. I think your number one dream is a healthy you. And to get healthy, we have to start with self-reflection. And that's hard. It's hard to take a look in the mirror sometimes and go, ugh. Because I don't know if you know, I don't know if you're the same as me, but I like to focus on what I'm really good at. I'm crushing it over here. Let's just keep doing that. Yeah, that's terrible. Let's just sweep that under the rug. But it's really important to focus on that cultivation and that hard work of self-reflection. And that's what we're doing. That's what the workbook is about. If you've already sneaked into the workbook, that's where we're going to start. So turn to page 3. I will, it's got the wheel on it. I'll show you a picture of it just so you can see. Screen share for just a second. Hopefully you can see that. It's got this wheel here. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to define the wheel and then we're going to shade it in. And if you've ever done our wheel before in the planner, it used to have 6 slices of pie. But this actually has 8 because some of you guys have different parts of your life that matter. And also, I really think your home matters. Not that your home has to be perfect. We're not Martha Stewart, Pinterest perfection. But taking care of your home, I think for me, is big on my mental health. Even if it's just once a week, we really clean it. So we've added space to add in motherhood, if that's part of your life, and dwelling to your home. So you can see, how do you feel in these areas? So we're going to go ahead and write our words in. Everyone has a spiritual pie, so go ahead and write that one. Spiritual, personal, physical health, financial, professional, and dwelling. And then the other 2 slices of pie, you can write, if you're married, I would write marriage. If you are not married, I would write relationship, just cultivating your healthy relationships, whether that's with a significant other or a parent or whomever. It's just about the core relationships in your life. So add that in. And if your pie only has 7 slices, that's totally fine. I just wanted you to be able to touch on every area that you might have. And it's okay just to have 6. Okay, so that is your pie. So write out the words around it. And after you've done that, the next step is to shade it in based on how encouraged you feel about that area or how discouraged you feel about that area. So if you're feeling super encouraged about the state of your home, fill in that slice of pie really, strongly. Think about your financial area of your life. When I interact with paying my bills, purchasing items, or conversations around money, do I feel encouraged or like really discouraged? That's how to gauge it. I'm gonna go back to not screen sharing. Hopefully you guys understand that. You just shaded in that slice of pie, how you feel. On your physical, when I get dressed, look in the mirror, I feel, and also how rested are you, your sleep, all of it. Spiritual, how is my soul? How does my relationship with God feel? Am I feeling really encouraged about that or really discouraged? So let's take a moment to fill in your pie. Don't overthink it. It's just an assessment. And don't be discouraged if one area is super empty. We all have an area that we are struggling in. I always say even Beyonce has a slice that is, not full. So shade that in. I like to use different colors, but you don't have to. It can just be all black and white. No worries. When I think about my personal life, like me, how am I? How's my mental health? How's Polly doing? How's Ashley doing? How's Donna doing? How's Kelly doing? My creativity, a few weeks ago, this area was empty for me. It was the light for me was just out. And that's why I hired a therapist, took an art class, saw my spiritual director, got off medication. But without that self-reflection, it's easy to drift and not know what's going on. Okay, so hopefully you have your wheel shaded in. The next page 4, is why. And this is the important thing. We've never had this in the planner before, if you're familiar with the wheel in our planner. And I think this step's really important. Why did you give yourself that rating? Why did you give yourself that rating? Answer that question. Why did I give myself that rating? And I'd start with some of the lower ones because those are the ones that are telling. And of course, it's good to answer it for every one of them. Why are you feeling really encouraged? That's a good sign. So let's take a minute and write that out. This is the workshop part of the workshop. This is good work. If you have any questions, pop them into the chat. I'm going to type in the core principle number 3 for you, Mita, in the chat. And I'll answer your question, Carmelita. All right, pop in the chat if you need another minute. If you're like, I'm good on these, I don't want to rush you. We have time. We're only at the halfway mark. So this is the page we're on, filling that in. You can see the bottom have blanks. So that's where you're supposed to fill in marriage or relationship, dwelling. I guess raise your hand when you're done. I think there's a virtual way to raise your hand. I don't know where it is, but I've heard we can do it. Right now we're writing down, why did you give yourself that rating in all of those areas? All right, we've got some hand raised. Brittany's done, Shay, Carol, Janelle. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next step. If you're still in this step, keep going. It's totally fine. The next step is just gonna build off this. So the next step, now that you know why, which is such a key, great question of why you gave yourself that rating, especially in the areas where we're struggling. The next one is, what is 1 to 3 things you can do to feel more encouraged in each area? And for the areas you're crushing it, don't worry about it. You're doing it. You're crushing it. You know, maybe your professional life's really hit a great flow, or your physical life, you're starting to do your routine and you're feeling great. Don't worry about that area. Focus on all the other ones. What are 3 actions you could take to feel more encouraged in each area? List them below. And if you can only come up with 1 in each area, that's fine. But sometimes it's good to just get it flowing. So that's the next step. What are those actions you could take on a weekly basis? Like, if I want to do better in my financial life, on a weekly basis, I could check in with my budget. Or maybe my number 1 thing is create a budget. Take Financial Peace University. Do a check-in with my spouse on how we're doing. For my spiritual life, weekly, I could make time for a morning devotional, join a small group, do a worship walk. So let's write down the answers to that question. I'll show you the page. This is the page where we're filling that out. If you have any questions, type them in the chat. I'll put a little timer on. Okay, timer's on. If you need help brainstorming something or an area, I'm here for you. Let me know. Use those why answers that you did in the last step. If you need some inspiration of your action, that can really help you from that step 3 into step 4. What are the actions that you could take on a weekly basis that would make you feel more encouraged? And on the ones you're doing really good on, you could go ahead and say, what are the activities I'm already doing that really make me feel encouraged? Like maybe it is my CrossFit class, if you're a CrossFit person. Maybe it is your bar class or your YMCA dance class or whatever it is that's keeping you. Maybe your marriage is going great. What is it? Oh, we're really prioritizing sitting down with meals and putting our phones away. Write that down, because it's good to have clarity, because you can get in a groove and then slip off and go, what changed? But having that awareness is such an amazing tool. So Felicia's feeling bored, stuck professionally. So for your professional category, if you think about why you're feeling discouraged, what would make you feel more encouraged? Maybe it's learning a new skill, working towards a promotion. Like I feel like when I get stuck, it's because I'm not learning anything. I'm not being challenged. Or there's a unhealthy relationship at the office. So whatever it is that's making you feel stuck, usually for me, it's some sort of education. Maybe it's picking up a personal development professional book like Entree Leader or Positive Intelligence is a great book to pick up for professional. Maybe it's pray for that person at the office that's really grating on your nerves, maybe that's a simple thing. All right, well, it's really about me and Sarah. We're struggling. So I'm just going to pray for Sarah. And maybe that can help change the dynamic in the atmosphere at your office, if you're going into an office. What are the things in your home that you could do that would make it feel more inviting or more of a safe space? Maybe it's hiring someone to deep clean your house once a month. That's the timer. It's an allowed timer. Okay, so let me know if you need more time. But the next step, I'll just go ahead and move on. If you're watching the recording, you can literally just pause me. It's like, stop. And then restart it. And you guys will all have access to the recording too, if you want to go back and do it again. But the next step is to figure out your one thing. Not just one thing, your one thing. So in each of these categories, you came up with 1 to 3 things. Let's narrow that down, because honestly, if you look at this list, it's like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. It's overwhelming. I'm supposed to get all this together so I could even dream. No. Let's go simplicity. In each of these areas, circle the one thing that you think will move the needle the most, or even maybe the simplest thing you can implement into your week. What's the one thing? So for example, in the spiritual, you might have come up with 3 different things. Pick the one thing. In your home, pick the one thing. In your professional life, pick the one thing. Maybe for a professional, it's picking out a really good professional development podcast and listening to it on my way to work, or when I'm putting on my makeup or doing my hair in the morning before work. Maybe that's something. So circle the one thing, or star it, or put a heart, whatever you want to do. And that's your one thing. And that is your core fundamental need. I'll be quiet for a second, let you do that. Okay, so hopefully you picked your one thing. If you're still doing that, that's fine. This is a training that I learned from Chelsea Jo Moore. She has a podcast, Systemize Your Life. I see Michelle's a fan. I did not swipe this from her. I have permission to use this, partly because this type of work is going into my new planner. Chelsea and I actually worked together, because when I learned this from her, it took what I did at the beginning of the year and actually transformed my week. So for example, the week right now that we're in, here it is. This might look kind of crazy confusing, but you'll see the blue highlights. I have blue highlights, and those are my one things for the week. I have a Bible study. I have a bar class. I've got a paint time. I've got a creative time with my daughter. That's my motherhood area. I've got a space called the Marriage Journal. That's for my marriage. Once a week, we answer 6 questions. Financial planning. I have those built into my week. And that's really part of the training we do in the academy too. And she has a different type of system that's in her academy as well. We came together and kind of merged. And so she's a guest speaker in my academy, but I wanted to go ahead and give you this because it's important. And it's going to be in our 2022 planner. The wheel grows, you answer why, you come up with your things, and then you redo this every quarter, because it's so important. And it's not just about doing it once, it's about living a life where you're taking care of your fundamental needs for your home, your marriage, your motherhood, your health, all of it. And that's what helps you actually sustain your purpose and your calling. And so, but crafting a schedule to fit all these can be tricky. So that's why in this workshop, we found what our one things are. That's great. But now I want to make it really simple. We're going to pick our one thing. So out of all the things in the area that you are probably on fire the most, what is the one thing that we need to do in the next 24 to 48 hours to see improvement? And it might be simple. Maybe your home was the weakest area and it's literally like deep clean the kitchen, it's something, and that's okay. Like if that can totally transform your day, it can. So on page 6, we're going to write down, what's my one thing? Out of all the ones we picked out, what's the one thing? And when am I doing this? There's a space on page 6 to answer that question. So pick it out. What's that going to be for you? And when are you doing it? For me, my one thing was a bar class, taking a workout class, because I've just not been doing anything because I wasn't feeling well. So for me, it was signing up, paying the $15. If I don't show up, I get charged a fee. It was just taking that step of like downloading the app and scheduling the class, and it improved my week. I did it on Monday, and that just set the tone for my week. Another big one is I'm doing a Bible study. I'm going to sit down and do a soap. Maybe you haven't been in the Word and you're like, I need that. Maybe that's your one thing. But the important thing is scheduling it. When am I doing this? And I want to challenge you to do it in the next 24 hours. If you can fit it in, Maybe that one thing is only a 15-minute thing. When are you doing it? Write that down. Write that answer down. Maybe it's, I need a date night. We need to go on a date. Or once the kid goes down, we're going to eat dinner by ourselves and watch a movie, play cards, whatever it is. And if you want to, I would love to know, what is your one thing? Put it in the chat. I would love to see what your one thing is. For me, mine was a bar class this week. So feel free to write that in the chat. I'd love to know what your one thing is. Stop sharing real quick. Yoga class. Yay. Awesome. Budget. That's a good one. That's a good one. Talk about mental clarity. That one will take a lot of stress. Once you have a plan, a meal plan, learn a new skill, devotional time, finally finding a therapist. That's a good one. I have a spiritual therapist, Amy Brady. I talk about her on the podcast all the time. She's amazing, of Evergreen Soul Wellness. And then I used betterhelp.com to find somebody. It's kind of nice because you can test people out. Like, oh, we vibe, we don't. Meal plan, going to bed by 11. That's a good one. Schedule my CISSP exam. Cool. Not sure what that is, but good luck. Register in fitness. Yay, I love all these. These are great, guys. Home focus. Focus on your home. Set a timer. Doing a timer with this stuff is so helpful. Turn everything off, especially if it's something you're going to sit at your computer and do. I'm like, oh, let me check my email before I do it. No, turn everything off and just do the thing. Set a timer. I use my watch sometimes, 15-minute increments. Yes, okay. Get on top of my work. Ooh, get your car detailed. That sounds nice. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Woo, outsource. I love it. So that's your one thing. I'm so proud of you guys. And this is a step towards your health. It is, period. And finding a schedule, creating a schedule where you can implement these one things is so important. I want you to do the one thing, but I also want you to do the 1-2 thing. You know, the second thing in your life that really needed to get added in. Add that into your schedule. Use your planner to make time for it. Highlight these one things in your schedule and make sure they happen. At the end of the week, say, okay, did I get these done? If you get your 8 things done, your fundamental needs, your week's going to be amazing, because this is really the core of who you're becoming. I know this workshop can only last 15 minutes, so we're going to move on. The next question I have for you is, what is the antithesis of this one thing? Basically, what's your excuse of why you haven't been doing it? Or what usually takes the place of this? Because we've all got them. Oh my gosh, we've all got them. Not trying to make you feel bad. We all do it, you know, time, resources, money, just don't feel like it, you know. Time gets wasted on social media, overwhelmed. But I want you to know the antithesis, because I want you to be prepared when it pops up, because it's going to pop up. You're going to go, I'm going to get my car detailed, and then something's going to pop up, or, you know what I mean? So what is the antithesis of you actually doing this thing? And whatever the one thing is, I want you to make it so simple and so specific. You know, the one thing can't be get my life together. You know, it's got to be a specific action that you could do once a week. Some things like create a budget, you create it once and you can keep doing it. But for the most part, it's a habit you want to cultivate. And it's like, oh, I want to do a Bible study every day. Okay, let's start with once a week. You know, if you haven't been doing it at all, start small. That's okay. All right. More laugh times. I love that. More laugh times. That's cool. Okay, so what is the antithesis? And the next thing we're going to do with our last few minutes, by the way, I'm so proud of you guys for doing this. I'm just going to introduce you to a space for you to work on a dream. And we've gone through a lot right now. This might be it's a lot. I know, because I really wanted to give you guys a lot of value and core content in this workshop. But I made a dreaming page for you, the second to last page of your workbook, because I know some of you guys are showing up here with a dream and you already had one. Some of you guys might have been like, I don't really have one yet. Guess what? You got one. It's your one thing. And creating a schedule that fits your other ones, right? The one that caters to your home and to your marriage, okay? That's on Thursdays. This is on Sundays. Create a schedule that maps it out. And that's something we do in the academy, building a 5-block system and figuring out where do I fit these things, so you don't feel pulled in 100 directions at once. So here's your dream page. And I'm going to go through this, but this is your homework. This is your homework to sit on a specific dream that's in your heart. And maybe you're like, I don't know what my dream is. And that's okay. It will come. The more you grow in the health of your heart and the more you grow in your relationship with Jesus, a dream will be birthed. I don't want to force it. But this is some great questions you can sit with, especially if you're like, I came here with my dream, I'm ready to map it out. These are the questions. Number 1 is to describe your dream in detail. Get specific. If your dream is a health dream, a health goal, I want to lose weight, I want to tone up. Okay, well, what does that actually look like? What is the specifics of this? How will you know when you cross the finish line? What will it look like to actually possess the dream? For example, if it's starting a business or something, okay, well, let's make that, what is that finish line? Is it when you get the LLC documents? Is it when you make your first sale? Whatever it is, make the finish line of what it will look like when you're there. The second question of that is, when did you come up with this? How did this dream, how was it birthed? When did the idea come? That's important to write down. And if you need more space, there's a notes page behind this page to really add it in. Number 2 question about this big dream is, why does this dream need to happen? If a dream doesn't have a really strong why and your heart is so in it, that dream will become a burden, and burdens are abandoned. So you need to know from the beginning on a dream, how does this connect with your values, your blessings, and your talents? Maybe your dream is completely becoming debt-free. It's a great dream. I had that dream. It was a tough dream. And sticking to the why and being fired up about it is the only way to get it done. Well, that dream connects way bigger than me. That's a legacy. That's for my children. That's for our dreams together as a marriage. That helps our marriage stay together, not constantly having the debt and the conversations about it. The next question is, what is your logical next step? And when I say that, what part of this dream is actually in your control and what part is out of your control? Because sometimes a logical next step is releasing, praying, releasing the timeline to God. Maybe the logical next step, because you're stuck, is getting help, getting training, or finding resources. What are my resources to even get this done? Who do I know? Who could I ask? Who could I invite to coffee and pick their brain? So here's some qualifying questions to help you with that next step, because that can sometimes be the hardest next step. And then lastly, the question is, how long do I think this dream will take to accomplish? And how many hours am I going to commit to it in my week? And this, after you create a schedule with your top number ones, you want to add this in there, a blanket of time. Maybe it's 2 hours on Tuesday morning or an hour on Saturday morning to commit to this dream, to focus on it. And maybe it's going to connect with one of these areas, like it's a financial dream. So it connects with what you're already doing in that number 1 spot, if that makes sense. And here's the caveat. However long you think it's going to take, it's probably going to take longer. That's like a human fallacy. It's called the planning fallacy. People always underestimate how long things happen. It's a phenomenon. It's been tested and tested and tested by scientists. So whatever it is that you think you'll need, add more. And you can always recalibrate as you're going. Now, I know I kind of zoomed over this one, but I wanted to give you this and set up this homework for you so you can sit, put some music on, light a candle, and really focus on this page after our session's over. If you have any questions about this or you're stuck, email me, polly@horacioprinting.com. I would love to chat with you and also get your feedback on this workshop. Let's see if you guys have any questions. Okay. All right. So that is the dream planning workshop. I hope you loved it. I hope it helped you at least come up with a next step for your next 24 hours and a space for you, if you have a dream that's bursting out of your heart, for you to start really getting it out there. And of course, I do want to invite you to the Horacio Printing Academy to be a part of the dream crafting course. And I want to quickly tell you just a few things about it, and then I'll pray and we can get on with our day. So here's the thing. The dream crafting course provides a framework and accountability to accomplish your big dream, but also create the schedule for a healthy life and be more connected to the Lord. We go through your identity, strongholds of your past, fears, failures, limiting beliefs, how to overcome paralysis analysis, the naysayers, the bullies that come in and really try to talk you out of your dreams, when to wait, when to move. And in the course, we create a personal plan, a schedule to fit all of your number ones. We create time for your big dream, and we have a 90-day plan for it. And we do some of this work, but it goes a lot deeper in really understanding what are all the roles in my life? What does that look like? And where am I going in the long term for this role as a mom, for this role as a wife, all the roles that you wear. And so in this academy, it takes about 3 to 6 months to get through. A lot of people are like, I'm busting through this, but we have a lot of chutes and ladders, like little offset challenges you can take, little workbooks, and like you can kind of work through stuff on your purpose. And so it's a fun journey. It's very tailored to however fast or slow you want to take it, but it has a community. You can join a peer-led support group. So we have these little pods you can join and meet up once a week and hang out with your peers. Then I do a live support session every month where I take questions and I bring new content. You get a $50 credit to the store, so that'll pay for your planner for the next year. I send you a personalized gift in the mail when you sign up, and you'll get a ticket to the Dreamer Summit. All Academy students get a ticket to our Dreamer Summit, which is in December. You'll get a ton of downloads, and today I'm actually doing $100 off. So it's $100 off the one payment, which is the best deal, or it's $20 off your payments if you want to do the payment plan monthly. So I just wanted to give you that gift. Like I said at the beginning, there's zero pressure for this. If you're like, this is not for me right now, like that's fine. If you're struggling with time and not having enough time in your schedule, this might be exactly what you need. And if you have any questions about the ins and outs of it, you can absolutely email me or send me a DM. Happy to answer that. But you can check out everything about the Academy at, it's called thedreamerinYou.com. And I'll give you the code. I'm just going to pop over there. So the code is, if you want to do the one payment, it's just, I'm saying yes. That's it. I'm saying yes. No apostrophe because it's a code. And then if you're doing the payment plan, it's I'm saying yes PP, which stands for payment plan. This is the link to just the course link. So I'll put the two codes in here. And then for it's basically like 20% off each payment plan. Code is, which adds up to $100, is I'm saying yes, PP. And that code will last for the next 5 days. I'll keep it open. Yeah, so that's the little gift and the invitation. Like I said before, zero pressure. But I do want to just pray over you as we close up. And my prayer is partly a scripture, and it's Ephesians chapter 1, verse 18. I'm just going to read this over you, so feel free to just close your eyes, relax, take a deep breath. I know we worked through a lot of things today, did a lot of self-reflection, and I'm really proud of you for taking this time for yourself. It's not easy work looking at our weaknesses, but it's really powerful work. And so I just want to pray this Ephesians prayer over you. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people, and his incomparably great power for us who believe. I'm going to say that again. I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people, and his incomparable great power for us who believe. Father God, I thank you for every single heart and dreamer that is attending this workshop. God, I just thank you that we get to meet together through technology. And Lord, we lift you up. We're so thankful for the way you created us, the way that you created us in your image, and the way that you love us, the way you knitted us together in our mother's womb. God, I just pray that you will bless each and every dreamer here today, that you will help them as they cultivate and seek you, and help them to know what their dream is and what they need to let go of, so that they can truly walk in your peace and in your love and in your power. Thank you so much for your love and for your grace and for our salvation. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Well, that's all, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I think we did it right at 1 o'clock. We did it, 1 hour. Woo. Thanks so much. It was so good to hang out with you guys. And if you have any questions, let me know.